Urban, the name of Diamond K. Thank you for joining me. A lot of things I want to touch on today, and I do want to say this: Thursdays, Fridays, 8 p.m. RadioOnFire.com. I am here live, and as I said, a lot of stories I want to touch on. I'm going to dive right in now. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is now suing, trying to get his name back, and I definitely have to say that when somebody is trying to take down Bill Cosby, the media is all over it. Now, whenever he does his thing, nobody says anything. But one thing about the tables, they always turn. They always turn. And Bill Cosby is suing Andrea Constand. Now, Constand is the one that was involved in the deposition and all that kind of thing. So she claimed that Bill Cosby drugged and raped her. Now, Bill Cosby is now taking her to court for breach of contract. Now, in the complaint, it says, let me read this, and I quote, "Despite the strong, ambiguous provisions in the confidential settlement agreement, defendants, with an S, repeatedly disclosed information that they promised to keep secret. Now, as a result, Andrea Constand's breaches of the 2006 confidential settlement agreement, Bill Cosby has suffered serious and irreparable harm that cannot be cured by money damages, and also has suffered substantial monetary damages in the amount to be proven at the trial." Now, the suit also names Constand's mother, her attorneys, and the National Enquirer's parent company, which is called American Media. Now, back in 2006, they agreed to cease publication and distribution of any allegation-related stories, but has, ignored that. Which is why they are named in this lawsuit. And interesting. So Bill Cosby has lost something that cannot be repaired in money. What could that be? His good name. The good name of, Mr. Huxtable Cosby. Now, on the evening in question, Bill Cosby urged her to take pills, which he provided. And they're saying they're able to seek justice on behalf of the victim. So, do you want this to work in his favor? Very interesting. Lisa, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening. I am well.
Okay.
Blessed.
Is your mic on?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good.
It is. Yes.
So how do you feel about Bill Cosby?
You're
not feeling him, huh?
I don't know. Like, I feel like he didn't get a fair chance. I feel like as soon as people started saying things, it was like a snowball effect, and it wasn't in his favor, and he lost. Not only did he lose out on the syndications, Felicia Rashad, all of the people that were on the actual Cosby Show lost out as well.
Okay.
And I feel like he was tried before he was actually tried.
That's okay. What I feel like. I see where you're going with it. You're saying he was judged. Now, this deposition, if it was an agreement and a contract that said that we weren't supposed to see it, we weren't supposed to see it. Mm-hmm. They're going to lose this case. They're gonna lose this case. Not Bill Cosby, but
right.
Yeah.
So I'm happy, but I would agree with you that I haven't heard anything about him even having this go in his favor.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything about it.
Yeah, well, it hasn't gone in his favor yet. It's obviously going to be determined. Mm-hmm. So let's just say that every lawsuit that he sues for defamation, breach of contract, whatever, mm-hmm. he wins. Mm-hmm. He still is not going to get his good name back.
He's not. There's
because there's a reason why he did do some things wrong.
Yes, he did.
He
spoke about some things.
And he should not be squeaky clean.
Right.
But everything that they accused him of, he did not do.
Right.
But let us know your thoughts. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at The Diamond K Show. Also, RadioOnFire.com, at RadioOnFire.com. So moving on to the next thing we have here, I want to talk a little bit about Rick Ross.
Oh,
Right. Okay, so speaking of judges and courtrooms, he's battling a judge so he can leave the country to perform. Now, he's scheduled to perform in the Caribbean, right?
Oh.
In a couple of months, springtime.
Okay.
Good. If you got to go to the Caribbean,
yes,
springtime is the time to go.
yes.
Or wintertime here will be good. But that may not be possible because you remember we reported this on radioonfire.com. He pistol whipped and kidnapped somebody. Do y'all remember that? Oh, nobody remembers that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, somebody that was
really?
working for him. Somebody that don't work for him anymore.
So
I don't think he got him from a temp agency either. I think this was I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
But so that case is still pending. Rick Ross's attorney, Stephen Sadow, says that he's prepared to show why his client should be allowed to leave in April for shows and the island of St. Martin and possibly Europe. I mean, he is working. Now, currently, he's out on $2 million bond for the pistol whipping incident, and must receive a judge's permission to leave the country. Now, Ross is claiming that his attorney, check this out, will accompany him and hold his passport at all times, and he will also not fight extradition if he does anything wrong. So we'll see how this pans out.
Well,
I mean, he is going to work, so that's the thing about it. It's not like he's going on a pleasure trip.
this is true.
So should he be allowed to go?
I'm pro Rick Ross. Let him
Now,
go.
let me say this:
Coins.
if the person who he pistol whipped and allegedly kidnapped was your cousin, how would you feel about it then?
Oh, you're trying to make it a little bit difficult. You really
wait.
don't want my response.
You would say no. You would say no.
It just depends because I'm a realist.
On which cousin it is? First cousin or second cousin?
Word.
Okay.
I'm just
All right.
saying,
Well,
I'm a realist. It's got to be a reason.
it's a reason for everything.
It's a reason for everything. So if I heard both sides, if my cousin was in the wrong, I might be like, hey, you got what you got. But if Rick was the aggressor, I might be like, you know what, he can't go anywhere. Put him on house arrest.
All right, so we'll see how this goes. Let us know your thoughts. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire, Twitter at The Radio on Fire. I don't think they're going to let him go.
Just because he's Rick Ross? Oh.
Just because he's Rick Ross. I mean, if he was Justin Bieber,
Are you serious?
he'd be gone.
Really?
That's all I'm going to say about that. Moving on. Moving on. Serious incident here. Not saying that the last incident wasn't serious. Baltimore County Police investigating an officer shooting or officer involved in shooting.
Okay.
You hear this a lot.
Too much, actually.
It's not what you think, though. It's not what you think. Detectives are investigating an officer involved in the shooting that happened Thursday morning, February the 18th. Old Eastern Avenue and Harrison Avenue in Middle River on the east side of Baltimore. Now, that's not the east side? That's not the east side?
That is considered Middle River, which is around the Essex community, which is
Baltimore County?
Baltimore County.
But so it's not East Baltimore?
No, it's not. It's actually almost southern Eastern County, kind of.
Southeast Baltimore?
I'll let you have it.
East is in it some kind of way. No, I'm just.
I'll let you have it.
Now, an officer shot a suspect who was taken to the hospital. No word yet on his condition. So the police corporal John Watcher says that around 2 a.m. he pulled over a vehicle that he suspected was involved in narcotics activity. Now the passenger exited the vehicle and started to walk towards Eastern Avenue, then stopped. Allegedly. Now, the vehicle itself pulled around onto Harrison and put itself in the position roughly parallel with the officer's car during an altercation between the police and the passenger who exited the vehicle. That passenger, here it is, made a sudden movement towards his waistband, and that officer was in Do I have to finish it?
No.
In, here it comes, fear for his life. And weapon was discharged. During the interaction with the officer, is he trying to say he was running away and he made a move for his wristband? Now, of course, it's not been stated whether he had a weapon on him. I'm sure that he, that'll come out.
They did not find a weapon.
Right.
They
I knew
did
you was going
find
to
a
say that,
weapon.
yeah. The driver of the vehicle was arrested. And so the officer will be on routine administrative status while this is being reviewed. But as Lisa said, no weapon found. But they did recover narcotics from the scene. So these were allegedly some junkies. I ain't got no weapon.
Well, here's the thing. I hate to say it, it's possible. It just depends. So it just depends on how much he had on his person in his possession.
Yeah.
If it's considered for profit or a personal use. So we just have to, once if they disclose that information, then that's what they'll determine if he was going to distribute this or if this was a personal.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's probably not a large amount. Had it been a large amount of drugs, it would have stated, it was 2 keys of coke.
Right.
So we're talking about personal use.
Yeah, so you're probably right then in that instance that he was probably, unfortunately, a functioning junkie, for lack of a better term. And
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I do remember this morning them saying that while he was shot, he didn't die, so he was just injured, which is good. But it's unfortunate that it had to even come to that at all. So
Yeah.
I will really be glad when we don't have to talk about things like this, which I probably will never stop. But it's getting old.
What's getting old?
This whole police interaction.
Yeah.
It's
I was talking to the Baltimore Sun about my thoughts on how to improve police and community relations, and we'll speak about that at a later time. But we definitely need to do that. And but I mean, 2 a.m. Dark Street in Middle River. I can understand why he might be fearful in that instance.
Sure.
And here's the thing about it. The race of the people involved has not been released, so I can't speculate on that.
Right.
But I will say this: one thing that I do want to commend the officer on is the fact that he's not dead.
Right.
He did not kill the guy.
Right.
I'm going to say that he probably handled it correctly. If he was the only officer on the scene,
Right.
a couple people, you're a little anxious. But he
Right.
did not kill him. So he
Right.
shot him in a way that he's not dead, at least
Right.
as of yet.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens, and hopefully he pulls through. But my thing is that even if, so he said that he was in fear for his life. He didn't unload on him. He
Right.
didn't,
That's what I was
unload the
thinking,
clip.
too. Right.
And that's how you're supposed to handle things.
Right. You're supposed to.
So I want to
injure
commend
and
the
not-
officer for not taking this man's life
Right.
over a small amount of drugs.
This is correct.
Yeah.
And you said that so politically. Is that
What do you mean?
due to you running for office?
So for people that don't know, I am I am running for it's a nice segue. I am running for city council in the 8th district. And the elections, April the 26th here in Baltimore. We need everybody to go vote.
Yes.
Whatever district you live in, we need you to go and vote and participate in the process.
Yes.
Every vote counts. You do remember, people in Baltimore, we had an uprising,
We did.
2015.
Yes, we did.
One of the main reasons that we had the uprising is because people are frustrated.
Yes.
Police brutality, the way that money is handled. Some people don't have money. It's frustration. And all of that. We've seen a lot of police brutality incidents across this country. And I think that when the Freddie Gray incident happened and his funeral, in the wake of his funeral, I think that that was the last straw.
Yes.
And I think that if that had been any other city that dealt with that, I think that they would have done that to any major, city
Yeah.
like that. I think that that would have happened also. I just
Right.
think that it was just back to back. It was Mike Brown. It was,
It was-
it was a lot of things. We were just seeing it, and it was when the Mike Brown's incident happened, and you saw the aftermath of that. It was kind of, it was bubbling,
Right.
and the next city that had to deal with that,
Right.
boom, there you go. So we have to do that, and we have to get some improvement there. DwayneForBaltimore.com, DKForCityCouncil.com, both of those websites, definitely. So
Yes.
I need your support. 8th District City Council. We have to stop electing people that are irresponsible, that don't have accountability, and mishandle situations,
Right.
and don't have the best interests at heart of the people in the community.
Right.
Just kind of kicking back, politics as usual. It's time to shake things up.
Yeah.
And we need young people to get involved in this process as well. When young people get involved early,
Right.
then they'll be more prone to stay involved throughout their life. Then we can do some things different, because you got some people that didn't get involved in the political process at all, right? Then they become older people who don't get involved in the political
Right.
process at all and just go their life.
Right. And they just feel like they can't make a difference, but you can.
Absolutely.
Show up and make a difference.
Right. Let your voice be heard. Your voice needs to be heard. And the uprising here in Baltimore, the voices were heard.
Yes.
They're paying attention.
Right.
And there's going to be a lot of shakeups down at City Hall.
I believe you're right. I absolutely believe that you're right.
Clearly, we're going to get a new mayor. We definitely know that. It's going to be
definitely.
somebody different.
Yeah.
And a lot of city council seats up as well. So one thing that I do want to say, one other thing about this is that a lot of the people that are in the race that I've had a chance to meet with, even the people that are going for the same seat that I'm going for, care about Baltimore. And it is definitely good, and it's an honor to be around people who care about the city, because whoever wins, at least in my district, in the 8th district, cares about Baltimore and cares about the district. So I've had a chance to talk with just about all of them, pretty much all of them, and they care. So that's important, because we definitely want people that give a damn.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Good for
definitely
you.
want to say want to
Yes.
say that. Let's switch gears for a minute. Governor Hogan, Larry Hogan,
Yes.
pulls the Baltimore jail proposal.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
amid criticism from Democrats. So for people that are not from Baltimore, Governor Larry Hogan, Republican, swept into office, and he got into office because several reasons. I'm going to say this, in the words of George Bush, the conditions were ripe for a regime change.
Oh.
And so the Democrat that he's running against was not strong. Do you remember his name?
It misses me at this time.
Anthony Brown.
Anthony Brown.
Remember him?
I do remember him.
Whole time that
State's attorney?
no,
No. What was it?
Lieutenant Governor.
Lieutenant
Whole
Governor.
time he was in
Okay, sorry.
office under O'Malley, he ain't said nothing to nobody about nothing. Most people didn't even know how his voice sounded because he ain't talk.
Oh, wow.
He does look like the guy that's on the have and the have-nots, though. I will say that. But anyway, so, I felt like he wasn't a strong enough candidate, and Larry Hogan comes out of nowhere, boom, punches him in the mouth, steals the office. Not steals it. He won it
He
fair and
won it
square.
fair and square.
And that happened because Anthony Brown did not ignite people to come to the polls.
Okay.
Had he ignited people to come to the polls, had people been excited about him, I think he would have won.
Yeah.
It's not that people came out in droves to vote for Larry Hogan.
Right.
It's that the people who came out, more people came out that
And
voted for him.
Hogan.
A lot of people did not vote.
Right. This is true.
A lot of people did not vote, and if you don't vote, you cannot get mad at what happens.
Exactly.
So Larry Hogan is doing some things that some Democrats don't like. And a lot of the people who don't like it didn't vote. This doesn't even make sense.
Something?
Did not vote. So and I said I wasn't going to go back to it, but now I'm back on it again. We have to get out and vote.
Yes.
We have to get out and vote.
Yes.
Now, Larry Hogan, I don't know if you remember this, proposed to build a new jail,
I do remember this.
right?
Yes.
At the expense of what?
Taxpayers, right?
But at the expense of education.
Okay.
Higher education capital funding. And Hogan is telling Democrats if they don't want a jail, fine. No jail.
No jail.
No jail. Okay? Now, he said this today, since legislators who voted for a new jail in Baltimore no longer want it. So he's kind of throwing this in your face.
Right.
He's saying,
Oh,
y'all
but you
voted for this
it.
jail.
Now you don't want it.
Oh, but now you don't want it. I am reallocating that money to higher education. So he's doing y'all a favor, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
And so he said this today. Now, the projects that would have been delayed under Hogan's initial plan would have included a student service center at Morgan State,
Okay.
and a new business school at Coppin State. Projects would have their funding restored now. So under Hogan's request. Now, you usually have this saying that you have when something happens, that something good happens. What is that statement? Go ahead, say it.
Won't he do it?
Yes, that's the one.
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it? Now, who's the he? Is the he Larry Hogan?
Absolutely not. Do not get it twisted. We are talking about the he, the HNIC, which is in this case and always the Lord.
Okay. So,
With a T.
but Governor Hogan was on C4's show today on WBAL, talking about it. He said that the goal in building the jail sooner was to save. Are you ready for this?
I'm not ready. But
Was to save several $100 million by building it more efficiently. Okay. Now he says that the decades-old city jail, we had to close that down. We need a shiny new jail.
A shiny new jail.
That's not what we
Go
need.
figure.
That is not what we need.
I don't think that's what we need.
Yeah.
I don't think
What we need is you can spend a portion of that money to help keep people out of jail
Yeah, I think that would be
than
better.
funding the jail. And I understand that trying to keep people out of jail is bad for business, right? Because jail's a business.
Jail is a business. It is.
We need to keep people out of jail. We need to try to find ways to teach them. And I said this, and let me say this. This may be controversial, what I'm getting ready to say.
Okay.
But people that are standing on the corner, young people standing on the corner, right?
Some of them old.
Loitering, as they say. Hanging out, chilling,
Right.
those people.
Those people.
A lot of guys like that, young people, are potential entrepreneurs. Misguided. Maybe they don't know how to do it, so they take this particular road.
Right.
But these people just need some education
This is true. This is true.
to find out what it is that they are passionate about, to turn that into a business. Because they clearly have the drive.
Oh, you definitely have the drive.
It takes a lot of drive to stand out. I can't do it.
Okay? Yes, it does.
It takes a lot of drive. So this person, all they have to do is find out what it is that you like to do, how you can turn that into a profitable business. Boom, there it is.
Look at you.
There it is. That's what. So most of the people in the corner are just misguided.
Just misguided.
They just need direction,
Yep.
not another jail. Direction, education, somebody to show them the right way.
Right. A trade.
Right,
school,
right. That's what I'm
something
saying.
like that. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
I
So-
concur. I approve this message.
And the thing is that everybody's not books and learning type
Right.
people.
This is true.
But that's not the only way you can go. You can go
right.
other ways, and like you
There
said,
are
it can be
other
these can be small business owners. Because technically they're self-employed, but we need to get them on the right side of the law.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Amen.
Dwayne from Baltimore.com.
Yes.
You know, so with that being said, though, you know, the governor has said that if, you know, they have honest ideas of what should be done with the money, he's open to that discussion, right? He's open to that discussion. So I don't know though if you know, I don't know how to feel about him. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about Larry Hogan, and if Larry Hogan has the best interests, he's trying to work with Democrats, and he's trying to he's trying to play the game.
Okay.
In order to play the game, in order to be successful, you have to work with both sides of the aisle, as he said. You have to be, they use this word, bipartisan.
Okay.
Meaning both parties have to work together.
Right.
You have Democrats, you have Republicans.
Right.
Now, the independents always get left out of the conversation
Yeah.
because it's not tripartisan.
Right.
It's only bipartisan. The independents always get left out.
Oh, I mean, they chose to be independent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Independently stand. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
stand
Well,
alone.
and that's what has to happen with that. And that's how that goes. But I do want to say this: Larry Hogan is not the worst governor I've ever seen.
No, I don't think so.
But I got my eye on you, Larry Hogan. I am watching you. Where's the red line? Red line gone. No more red line. So we just got a whole bunch of I don't know. Maybe the red line can come back. I think it was good. It was a good idea.
Yeah.
I know that we have a lot of empty space. It's looking crazy in the uplands area right now. It's looking crazy.
Yes, it is.
It's like a half done thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how somebody can braid. You know how somebody braids their hair, right?
Right.
I used to have cornrows, right? And so in the 90s. So, and you got half your hair done and half your hair like a fro.
Yes.
That's how they got my uplands looking right now. Halfway done, halfway fro. Now, R. Kelly rocked it in like 2000.
Yes, he did.
Right?
Yes, he did.
But it ain't 2000,
It is
2016.
not 2000.
We need to braid our hair. We need to finish this building.
Yes.
Please braid my hair.
Braid my hair.
Yes. That
Yes.
we're changing gears here for a second. I want to talk about the anti-Beyonce protest.
Woohoo!
It failed miserably. Okay.
Epic fail.
Yes. Only 2 supporters came out in support of the protests after Beyonce's Formation Super Bowl performance. Not really a formation though.
No formation.
Yeah, no formation for the protest. Why was it so controversial? Very interesting. But only 2 protesters showed up to join this organized event outside of NFL headquarters in New York on Tuesday.
I wonder how their conversation was.
Beyonce dropped this single Saturday. I'm going to say it's got mixed reviews,
Okay.
but all of her songs are like that. They get mixed reviews. Some people like it, some people don't.
Right. Sometimes you have to just listen to it like maybe 2 or 3 times, and then,
Yeah.
then you're with it. So
Yeah. But so what the 2 protesters said.
yeah, what did they say? What was their conversation like?
It's very offensive to police officers and law-abiding citizens, both black and white, around the world, one of the protesters said. And she told Us Weekly this. And the second protester only would identify herself as a student. And she said that Beyonce supporting the Black Lives Matter movement and the Black Panthers movement is very cynical. He added this. I'm sorry. It's a guy.
Oh.
And he said that they are racist movements.
Oh my.
What?
How so?
A lot of people get this confused. I don't believe that Black Lives Matter is a racist movement.
No.
I don't believe the Black Panthers are a racist movement.
No, they're not.
Now, we have to define what a racist movement is, because neither one of these are racist movements.
No, I would not.
Now, the Black Panthers were a militant movement.
Yes.
You can say militant,
Right, but you can't say racist.
but what they were about was not, they were about protecting
Yes.
with force.
Yes.
So this comes at a time, you can get in your history books, you can Google it, you can try to twist my words up, but this was at a time when people were turning the other cheek,
Right.
nonviolent movement.
Yes.
This was the opposite end of the spectrum. Now, was the nonviolent movements racist movements? So it's like, if you fight back, then that means that it's racist.
Right.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
And it's not true.
It's not true.
The nonviolent movements were fine.
Right.
Now, there's some people that are on the other side, and I think some people that were on the radical side used to be on the nonviolent side. But after you get hit a couple times,
Right.
somebody
It's
figures
over.
out maybe we need to try it another way.
Right.
That's not racist.
Right.
They weren't going out and targeting, and they were retaliating.
Right.
The violence begot more violence.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that either one is right.
Right.
I will say that the initial racism was wrong.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's right for them to go and take somebody, but this is retaliation. This is that eye for an eye.
Right.
So if you want to say that it's racist, then you have to acknowledge what birthed it in the first place.
This is true.
Now, the Ku Klux Klan is a racist movement,
They are a racist movement.
and that was birthed after the Civil War,
Yes.
and it progressed from there.
Yes.
So if you want to say that the Black Panther movement came in retaliation of what became the remnants of the Ku Klux Klan into just institutionalized racism, and if you want to say, if you want to say that it has to be racist because it was birthed from that racism, it's kind of crazy.
No.
But I don't see how you can bring up the Black Panthers and not bring up some of those other things.
Exactly.
But so I'm going to say that I just don't think it's a
I
racist
feel like
movement.
it's selective. Like they want to bring out what they feel like they have a leg to stand on, which is
Right.
not right.
So people were upset because Beyonce, so the girls had on some kind of, wigs or whatever, and they was, paying homage to that. It's not the same. And some people try to equate it with what if, somebody did the Ku Klux Klan or some of those type of things. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same.
It's not the same thing. Because at the end of the day, it's not the same thing.
I think, in my interpretation of it, for her to bring them out in that way, I didn't get Black Panthers. I got Black Pride. I didn't get that.
Yeah, yeah.
I got Black Pride.
But right. And I think that's what she was going for. I think she was going for Black Pride.
Right, and people are looking too much into it. She was talking about her being proud of her heritage, her Creole, her dad's from Texas, and she said you mix them together, and she likes who she is, a Texas Bama. Now the Bama part is pretty funny, but that's what she called herself.
Right.
And she loves her husband, and she loves
Yeah.
her daughter's hair.
And they have some infatuation with Red Lobster, and that's all good. Okay, so anywhere in the song does she say anything about killing police officers?
She does not.
So they're trying to link the police officer part with the fact that they're linking the Black Panthers and Black Lives Matter.
Exactly, it's just too much.
Which brings me to Black Lives Matter.
They're reaching.
Now in every sect you have people that are turned up
Yeah.
and a little bit more excited.
Right.
And if police officers have been killing people, black and white, but they have been killing people, and a movement is started that says Black Lives Matter, meaning the people that have lost their life that are black, these people are important.
Yes. Right.
That is not birthed, or that's not a racist movement.
It's not a racist movement.
So that came out of the frustration, and I've heard a lot of people speak negatively about Black Lives Matter. And to me, what really, really burns me up about that is that when you speak negatively about that movement, but don't talk about why the movement came about, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
That's crazy. and it does not make sense, and it's hypocritical. It's un-American.
Yes.
It's un-American. So I'm on my soapbox about that. But many police officers are upset, and some police officers in Miami are trying to get together a some type of boycott. But I do want to say this: that the two people that came out, for the anti-Beyonce protest, they weren't alone. They were joined by more than 100 Beyonce supporters.
Ooh.
These are people from
The Beehive.
the infamous Beehive.
Hey.
And they organized a counter protest, held up signs, pro-B signs. So they're just talking about how spectacular her Super Bowl performance was. And, she did her thing. And, some of them had on, like the Afro wigs, and that whole thing, and I commend them on that. So we'll go with that. Last story I want to touch on: Big Ange, TV mob wives, dies at 55. And she was big. I don't want you to get it twisted. She's a big woman. She's a big woman.
No.
Angela, obviously.
She was very top heavy, if you want to say big.
Okay, she her lips. Did she have some surgery on her lips?
I would say she did.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she did. They look a little bit fuller.
Full. There it is. So she died of complications of cancer after she contracted pneumonia.
Yeah.
And the show's creator, obviously Mob Wives, talked about that. Larger than life personality, definitely. And it seems as though, you've probably never heard this said this way, but it seems as though Big Ange was addicted to plastic surgery.
You could say that.
Okay.
You could definitely say that.
Now, she was the niece. This is why she was on the show.
Yes.
So she's the niece of Salvatore Lombardi,
Yes.
known as Sally Dogs, of the Genovese crime family.
Yes.
Now, she opted to speak openly about this illness. So she talked about it. So this is not a surprise. People knew her struggles, and so she had some drug convictions as well. So she talked about her health, clearly.
Yes. It's so ironic because this season, and I'm a Mob Wives fan.
Was she on couples therapy?
She was. She was just recently
Okay,
therapy
right.
with her husband. Yeah, she
Right.
Her hair was blonde on there.
Okay.
But it's so ironic because this season they're actually talking about this cancer scare, and they had her go and get treatment, and then the last episode
she did chemo.
Yeah, the last episode I saw, they said that they wanted to go in, and she was just like, no. So in my mind, I'm like, I wonder, did she ever go and get that last surgery? And so you just never know. But like
they did detail like a stage 2, throat cancer, that type of thing, and they removed a lemon-sized tumor from her throat.
Right.
Wow.
And then they said that they found another something else that they found. I can't remember where the actual origin of that was anatomically, but yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's always sad. But she also discussed her condition on Dr. Oz show, revealing that she had stage 4 lung and brain cancer.
Wow. So maybe that's where the other part was in her lung. And this, stage 4 is the last. I want to say it's the last one.
Yeah, absolutely. So she says she smoked for over 40 years.
Wow.
And she thinks whoever smokes should quit. And if they don't if they don't smoke, don't start, is what she's saying. And
so like
I definitely concur with that.
Right. And at stage 4, they don't even offer you chemo.
Right.
Not at stage 4.
Right. Survived by her husband and 2 children, 6 grandchildren. And so Mob Wives from back in 2011 was when they had their premiere.
Yes.
And this was
I've been a fan ever since.
really a glimpse inside of the lives of women tied to the mafia.
Yeah.
Never watched the show, actually. I didn't. So, she was a tall woman, as I said. For a woman, she's 5'10". And yeah, so most of the women, she's the oldest woman on the show, obviously.
Yes, I believe
and
she
so
is.
she's in her 50s and they were in their 30s.
Well, there's what's Renee? Renee is next. Renee should be almost as old as Big Ange. Renee has she has black hair.
Yeah.
She's also up in age. I want to say she's probably in her 50s, maybe.
Okay. Well, there you have it. I definitely want to say this, radioonfire.com. If you have something to promote, music, send an email to yourradioonfire@gmail.com. You can send music there. We have a lot of shows, a lot of programming. And as I said, Thursday and Friday, 8 p.m., radioonfire.com. I am here. And like I said, we're here live. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to people that are checking out the audio. Of course, on demand, radioonfire.com. Hit us up, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @The Diamond K Show. And thank you. See you guys next time.